All right, good morning everyone. I hope you're doing well today. Thank you very much for tuning in. I really appreciate it. Shout out to all the subscribers. Shout out to all the new subscribers as well. Gratitude to anybody new as well. Welcome along. Thank you for tuning in. This video, a really important one. I know I say that in almost every video, but this one is very important because I'm going to get into the philosophy of speed, right? Meaning, you know, how you should think about speed. This channel is for beginners, and this is going to be targeting the beginners to help you to understand how you can use speed, or how not to use speed, or what to know about speed and how to get more speed. It's going to be quite a complex video. We're going to delve into the philosophy, meaning, you know, philo means love in Greek, and sophy means wisdom, right? And just understanding the why and how and where about speed. I'm going to break it down as best I can. I'm going to show you some excerpts from the gym where I was hitting the bag. One of them is have the, you know, understand where your positioning of the shoulder is. Even if I'm here, right? That's quicker than back here. And I'm going to explain to you how you today as a beginner can actually improve your speed, not from the physical aspect of it, but from more the mental and just a few other things that you can do to help get you a few little milliseconds faster. Let's go.
Boxing.
All right, it's another glorious day here in New York City. It's been raining and cloudy for so many days now. It starts to you know, make you wonder about the weather. But anyway, let's talk about speed, right? Because by the end of this video, I want you, the beginner, to have a firm understanding of, you know, how to approach speed, right? And because speed and power, I put them in roughly the same category. They're like the most sought after qualities or traits or attributes in boxing, right? Especially power more so. I've done many videos on power on my other channel. I've done one on here. I'm going to talk about power on this channel at a later date and how you can develop it and how to understand power, because it is like speed, you know, something that you should really like think about wisely, right? Hence the word sophy. You've got to be wise with your speed. You've got to be wise with your power. Now, speed, if you want to bring up an analogy, just imagine you're playing Street Fighter 2, right? We all play that game, it's a classic, right? And you're Ryu and you're going Hadouken, Hadouken, right? All the time. But let's just say that, again, that's a superpower move, but it doesn't take any energy from Ryu or Ken, right? But let's just say in a real life situation, you're throwing your hands really fast in like an explosive movement, and it's more like a Hadouken, right? But as impactful as that could be, because using speed and power is going to be an advantage for you, but it can also take your energy, right? Imagine Ryu doing a bunch of Hadoukens, but every time he throws one, his energy bar drops a little bit. That's how I think you should look at speed, because it is and can be an energy sapper if used wrongly. It is and can be an energy sapper if used wrongly. And if you don't have speed naturally and you're trying to, you know, really use speed, like let's actually break up what actual speed is. I'm going to get a little scientific on you briefly. As I said, this channel is for beginners, and we're going to delve into, you know, I'm going to get into the practical side of it very soon. But two things you should think about when you're talking about speed, right? Rate of force development. And that's a fancy word. I'm studying it a little bit more myself. I'll bring up some visuals, and I'll leave the channel that I've been following, who's this, I think he's from Sweden, this guy. Very, very astute, intelligent guy who breaks down speed, power, strength, scientifically. You know, it seems like he's got some kind of degree in this as well. So I really enjoy his channel, and I get a lot of my information now from what he says, and other channels too. I really try and bring all the information together, but plus my experience as well of fighting as well, and understanding speed, which I'm going to get into in a minute and give you some examples of how, when to use it and when not to use it. But rate of force development and muscle coordination, those two components of speed are very deep within themselves, but they are, you know, essentially the foundation and the build-up of speed. I'm not going to go into too much detail because it is quite heavy and this is for beginners, but just give you a scientific overlook. Like rate of force development really means like muscle fibers what kind of mental motor unit recruitment you're putting in there, meaning how much are you going to commit to the punch. Muscle coordination means just the flow of your arms, your muscles. Are they loose? Are they nice and relaxed to help contract at the right time to get the right amount of speed? You know, it's a very deep subject, hence why I'm making this video called The Philosophy of Speed, because it is not just like, oh my God, bam, that's really fast. Look at Manny Pacquiao, look how fast he is. Look how Floyd Mayweather, look how fast they are. Yeah, that's the physical aspect of speed, absolutely. But let's get into what I was talking about, how you can approach speed a little bit more thoughtfully. Right, so I'm going to bring up some clips from the gym the other day. I'm back here, my shoulders all the way at the back. Or if I'm right here, it's gonna be quicker. Where I was just hitting the bag, the audio messes up a little bit because when I hit the bag, you hear this muffle sound. So I'm gonna try to edit it a little bit and overdub it with better sound. So if it sounds a bit weird at times, that's why. It's not because I'm editing. It's just the muffling on the mic was really quite unpleasant. But anyway, long story short, right? First of all, I want to give a shout out to Fight Tips, Shane. Really great channel. He's got like 4 million views. He's been doing his thing for a long time, and I watched a lot of his videos, but one on speed, which kind of caught my attention, where, you know, and I've kind of thought about this before, but not in the way he did. And because speed essentially, right, is like how to get your punch from A to B as quickly as possible, right? Yeah, you've got the physical, I'm gonna throw this and, or like same as running, right? Someone's gonna be faster than the other person, whether it be natural or whether you've practiced the technique over and over and you've developed that speed. But a couple of things he was talking about that aren't to do with that is, one is your shoulder position, right? Now, as I said, I'm gonna bring in clips as I'm talking from the gym and show you. Can't really see the perfect angle because my shoulder, where the camera angle is, it doesn't really see it moving. But let me explain. One way to think about speed, right, is if I'm punching with my shoulder all the way at the back here, traveling through, getting the full extension on the arm, that's gonna take longer than if my shoulder's here, right? Just a few milliseconds. Right, if my shoulders are back here in a good stance, in a normal position, and I'm gonna shoot a fast shot like that, right? It's coming from back here, right? Obviously, so it's gonna take however long it takes. Now, let's just say my shoulder's here, right? Let's just say it's an inch or two closer, and I shoot the shot like that. Well, that's gonna get there quicker, just because based on the distance that it's going from where you start and how you get there, right? That's quite obvious. If I'm shooting a shot from back here, which I would never do that, but let's just say you're doing it for the sake of argument, and I'm gonna throw that, that's gonna be the longest to get there, right? That's number one. The other thing is you want to keep straight punches, right? Straight punches, there's a few reasons why we throw straight punches, especially with, you know, the ones and twos. You don't always have to. Obviously, you want to mix it up, but generally speaking, straight punches go through that guard area, right here. If your opponent's doing this, you want to get through the gloves with straight punches, but also the straighter the punches, you're getting your body behind it in terms of like, from a scientific point of view, from a kinetic chain as well. More on that in another video. All right, guys, just gonna jump in really quickly. When throwing looping punches as well, you can generate an awful lot of speed from leverage as well. It's just the straighter punches are going to get there faster just due to the distance. You know, you can get speed from both punches, just to be clear. But, you know, you're going straight, it's gonna get there quicker than that would. You know, if I'm throwing it slightly looped, boom, that's gonna get there quicker. So, you know, really, and one more thing as well I'm gonna get onto. So you've got the shoulder position where the punch is coming from, keeping the punches straight, and then not telegraphing the punch. I made a video called Punch Like a Snake, which talks about that, right? If I'm right here, and I don't move it, that's gonna be quicker, because my opponent's gonna have less time. So that's all part of speed. It's not just the physical movement of me moving my hand, which obviously is important, but there's a few things you can do to, you know, build up your speed. When I made a video about this called Punch Like a Snake, where I went into great detail about not having a punch tell, or meaning don't telegraph your punches, right? Because that is going to give your opponent more time to understand when the punch is going to land. So this still equates to speed, right? I'm doing this. If I'm doing this and dropping it back, that's giving him a few milliseconds, then I'm punching and he's going to see that punch. But if I'm right here, boom, and I shoot it, less time, which means it's going to be a faster punch. That's how you should think of the philosophy of speed, with those three things I just mentioned. That you could probably get a straighter punch, you could probably throw it with less telegraph, and you can, you know, think about the shoulders. Again, this is for beginners, so I don't want you to get overly worried about the shoulder position just yet. I just want you to understand that speed, and I'm going to get into this right now. I'm going to tell you a story about when I sparred, how speed gave me an advantage, but then it absolutely ruined me. Let's talk about it now. So yeah, this is many years ago. I want to say like 14 years ago. I sparred loads. I sparred hundreds. Well, I've lost count, to be honest, and that was a big part of my training, was sparring, you know, open fighters who had more than 10 fights, and sometimes novices. And you know, we used to spar, I want to say every single week, sometimes multiple times a week. But this one guy I used to spar with, his name was Charlie. And we were going back and forth, nothing crazy, but then, you know, out of nowhere, I just found the urge to reel off some really fast punches, right? And I'm not the fastest, you know, I've got a lot of power for sure, but speed is not one of my attributes for sure. But for whatever reason at that time, I really put the effort in to throw fast punches. I went like that. And they came out really fast, and they all landed. And after the spar, you know, it wasn't like we weren't trying to hurt each other or nothing like that, but it just came out. It was one of those spontaneous moves. But at the end of the round, that little burst of speed completely depleted my energy tank, right? And this is why I'm telling this story, because you have to think about speed more intelligently than just overusing it. It's like a superpower. Back to what I was saying, it's like a Hadouken, but that takes your energy bar, or a sonic boom, or a yoga flame. Dalsim never really gets spoken about enough in Street Fighter 2. He's not the best character, but he had some nice moves, you know, with the flames and stuff. But my point is, you got to look at speed and not get so infatuated by it, and not get so obsessed where you have to throw speed all the time, like fast punches. Oh, I've got to go fast. I've got to get power. I've got to build up my speed. You can do that. You can build up speed. I'm going to talk about potentially how you can do that. And in fact, I made a video on my other channel. I'll leave the link at the end of this, right? I've got another channel which talks about boxing from an artistic point of view, music and science. Leave the link up here if you want to follow me and support this channel. Go and check out that channel. It's not, you know, it's not techniques or tutorials, but it is a little different. But I made that chat on there years ago, and that's why I started making this channel, because I wanted to separate the tutorials from the art and boxing. But I did a video on speed with the dumbbells, and how you can probably build your speed up over time if you're consistent with using shorter punches. Light dumbbells, right? Those two pound dumbbells, and you flash them, and then you train with that, and then you take them off and you train with that. You see how fast your hands go. And I was in the gym the other day, there's this guy, looks like he's from like Mongolia, or like, you know, Kazakhstan area, you know, that Turkmenistan, you know, somewhere around there. He looks like he could be Dimitri Bivol's dad. But nice guy. And you know, very experienced guy, very, you know, wise man as well. And I was picking his brain a little bit, because, you know, the resistance bands, he was having his fighters use those. He had the bands on the rope, right, and facing out in the ring, and he was having his fighter do that. And resistance bands, obviously, they can create that resistance and create the force. When you take it off, it'll be a lot lighter. Bam, bam, you know. So you can definitely do that. I would just say, you got to be consistent with doing stuff like that, right? And I mean very consistent. And that's what I said about the dumbbells. I was like, will they give you faster hands? Probably. You'd have to try it over a long time. But when you do it round by round, or 2 rounds on, and you take those dumbbells off, as I said, you're going to feel and know that you're much faster. There's a dramatic difference. So can you keep that up? That's the only thing. So I'll end on this. What you should think about speed from a philosophical standpoint. Understand that it is an attribute you should look at with a lot of care, right? Be wise with it. Don't overuse it, and don't overuse speed in the sense that, you know, you can get addicted to it. Maybe you've got naturally fast hands and you can reel off combinations naturally without burning your energy. That's great, and you should definitely focus on how to use that and how to conserve your energy, you know. And, you know, just understand there's some things that you can do shooting straight punches. Don't telegraph your punches. Don't wave it around like this, giving your information away, because that's speed in itself, as I said. You know, think about the shoulder position. But again, if you're a beginner, there's more things to worry about. I'm just bringing that in because I do try to teach higher level of punching, which, you know, something, a deep passion of mine. And if you are new to the channel and you're a beginner and you're thinking this is a bit over your head, I'll always come back to beginner status. I just like to branch out and, you know, elaborate a little bit. I'm just out here in the park talking about Hadoukens and sonic booms. Or I love it so much, punching, that I just get a bit carried away. But as I said, you can definitely straight punches. You can practice that today. Practice not moving your hand and just like that. Punch like a snake. Watch that video. Understand that the farther away your shoulder is, the longer it's going to take. It means it's less speedy, right? But in terms of how to practice and get speed, you just got to work on that technique, work on your muscle coordination, which is being super relaxed. Stand on the bag, boom, over and over, boom, you know, boom. Get a nice, relaxed, comfortable state, bam. Back to the chin, bam, don't move it, bam, straight punches, and that's it, and so on and so forth. And you can really do it, but really understand that speed is something you should, you know, look at with a lot of respect, care, and love, and don't overuse it. Same with power, you know. When you master how to use these punches properly, I say master, try to, or just at least have a good understanding of what it can do for you, and don't get carried away with it or obsessed with it. That's it from me. Thank you very much for tuning in. I really appreciate it. My name's Henry. I love teaching beginners. I teach, you know, higher levels too, but in terms of punching, and I delve into the science of sports, but I've been teaching beginners for almost 15 years now. So this like the specialty I have, really, because, you know, I really help them get the best out of themselves. I help them improve their technique, and I really help them to understand the sport from a little bit deeper, and I really love it. So if you're new and that sounds like something you like, smash the like button, hit the subscribe button, and I've got loads more videos on the way. Thank you so much. Have a great week. Peace. I'm out.
Boxing.
On the edge.